Phyllis's dangerous deal backfires. Victor's deadly revenge plan shakes Genoa City. Tensions in The Young and the Restless are spiraling out of control as Phyllis Summers finds herself at the center of yet another explosive scandal. After secretly hijacking the powerful AI program, she shocks everyone by offering Victor Newman a deal, even admitting she stole it. But her bold move might cost her everything. Meanwhile, Kane catches wind of Phyllis's betrayal and confronts her in a fiery showdown that threatens to expose all her secrets. As Victor plots his revenge, whispers in Genoa City suggest someone may have to pay the ultimate price, and it might not be who fans expect. Adding to the chaos, Nick Newman's grilling of Sienna Bacall uncovers shocking truths that could tie directly into the AI scandal. And behind the scenes, Sharon Case opens up about her surprising involvement in selecting the new actor playing Noah, hinting that big changes are ahead for the Newman family. With betrayals, power plays, and deadly revenge schemes brewing, The Young and the Restless is about to deliver one of its most explosive weeks yet, and no one in Genoa City is safe. Welcome to Celebrity Gossip 24 Hours, where the drama unfolds and the stories captivate. Join us as we delve into the intriguing world of Young and the Restless, revealing the untold tales and hidden truths behind the headlines. Nick grills Sienna Bacall, and Kane confronts Phyllis about the stolen AI program. Thursday, October 23, 2025. Today on The Young and the Restless, Claire visits her cousin, Noah. Nick's suspicions run high, and Phyllis points the finger in another direction. At the hospital, Sharon tells a nurse that she read her son a book and his hand twitched. Noah must be improving. He was trying to communicate something. She's told it was probably an involuntary muscle contraction and that it's a good sign that her son's condition is unchanged. Sharon snaps at her and then apologizes. Returning to Noah's room, Sharon starts reading Tom Sawyer to Noah again, but his hand doesn't twitch, which makes her teary. "You have to come back to us, just like Tom and Huck did." What a coincidence. At the LA Hotel Cafe, Claire catches Kyle watching Holden speak animatedly with Sienna. She asks what he's doing. Kyle thinks the more important question is what is Holden doing, and who is he doing it with? Claire explains they're old friends and reminds him that he promised not to bother her. He should stay at another hotel. The longer he hangs around, the more it pushes her away. Claire joins Holden and Sienna, and Kyle's surprised to see Nick appear. Kyle learns that Noah is in the hospital. He remarks on Holden and Claire's friend, and Kyle tells him her name is Sienna Bacall. Nick barks, "Are you kidding me?" Kyle shrugs, telling him that she owns some bar called the Shadow Room and knows Holden. Nick walks over to greet Claire. Claire learns that Noah's in the hospital and why. Sienna tells Nick she's the one who called Noah. Holden gawps. "You know Noah?" Sienna claims she met him recently. He visited her and her husband Mitch at their club. Nick wants to grill her more, so Sienna asks him to join her at the nightclub. Holden offers to take Claire to the hospital, but she questions what Sienna was doing at the hotel. He shrugs that he doesn't actually know. She must like omelets. At the Shadow Room, Sienna wants to help Nick, but she only recently met Noah. Her husband, Mitch, met him in London and offered to invest if he opened a club out here. Nick apologizes if he's been intense. The police say someone ran Noah off the road. Sienna saw Noah the night of the crash. He left around midnight. Nick asks why she called him. She says he wanted information about licenses and permits. He asks why she hung up on him. Sienna shrugs. It was bad news. Nick makes it clear he'll find out if someone intentionally hurt his son. Nick asks for her number and Sienna points out he already has it on Noah's phone. She writes it down anyway and tells him she'll pray for Noah. He's one of the good guys. Meanwhile, Claire and Holden greet Sharon at the hospital. She recalls that Holden was a friend of Damien's. Claire asks if she could meet her cousin. Sharon takes her to Noah's room, pausing inside the door to question her about traveling with Holden. Entering the inner sanctum, Claire approaches Noah and tells his form that she's heard a lot about him and looks forward to hanging out. Sharon smiles inanely with tears in her eyes. Claire becomes emotional imaging what this has been like for Sharon. She and Nick are lucky to have each other. Sharon says it's important to have that person in your life that you can always rely on. Back at the hotel, Kyle looks up the Shadow Room in hopes of finding out more about Holden. Can Phyllis cover her tracks? In her suite in bed, Phyllis has Kane's AI program in her laptop. She's remarking on her brilliance when someone knocks impatiently. Robing up, she lets Kane inside. Kane fumes. "What did you do?" Phyllis plays dumb and asks why he's so angry. She pretends to be scandalized when he tells her his program was stolen or destroyed, or both. Ranting, she asks if he has a list of suspects. Kane says he does. She asks who's on it. He replies, "You." Kane tells Phyllis she had the means, motive, and skills. "Do you have any idea what this program means to me, Phyllis?" She asks if he wants some coffee to take the edge off. Kane wants her to look him in the eyes and tell him she didn't do this. Phyllis acts offended and outraged. She's been loyal and stood beside him. She yells and hollers about him, accusing her of stealing from him. That's outrageous. Kane's starting to think their goals are no longer aligned. She wants to go scorched on everyone who's wronged her and use his AI program to do it. Phyllis clutches her chest when he accuses her again. Standing close, Kane asks one last time, "Did you steal my program?" The final scenes. Nick finds Holden in the waiting room at the hospital and asks what's up with him and Claire. Holden says they're just friends. He's showing her around LA. Nick starts grilling him about the shadow room and asks if he's ever seen Noah there. Holden shakes his head. Nick asks about Sienna. Holden thinks it's crazy that she knows Noah. Small world, right? Claire appears, hugs Nick, and she and Holden take off. Nick muses, "Small world? Not a chance in hell." Nick rejoins Sharon in Noah's room, and she tells him about the hand twitch and the nurse's disappointing reaction. Nick grouses, "Everything about this is wrong." He tells her he ran into Sienna Bacall at the hotel, talking to Holden Novak. Nick can't shake the feeling that she was holding something back. She's definitely hiding something. In Phyllis's suite, she denies stealing Kane's program. He'll have to take her word for it. She informs him that he's looking in the wrong direction. Instead of accusing the person who's been loyal to her, he should start looking at Victor Newman. Back at the hotel, Claire runs into Kyle, and they discuss Noah's situation. Kyle's sure being in a hospital brought up a lot for her after Cole. She gets emotional and he tells her how strong he is. He moves to leave, but she stops him to thank him for the flowers he brought. Kyle tells her he's going home to Genoa City. Then, cue the eye rolls because she asks, "You're giving up?" Holden finds Sienna at the bar and warns her the Newmans are a powerful family. He has to ask, "How well do you know Noah Newman? And what do you know about what happened to him?" Today's next update. Young and the Restless. Phyllis hijacks AI and schemes against Victor. Chaos unleashed. Young and the Restless has Phyllis Summers mad at the world as usual, and she has decided she can only rely on herself. She wants that AI program, and I suspect that she would use it to target Victor Newman and maybe some others. We're going to talk about why Phyllis stole Kane Ashby's AI and how she'll use it to get the ultimate revenge on Victor and maybe on some others that have hated on her. Young and the Restless. Phyllis fed up with everyone. So, we saw Phyllis this week ranting about how she's going to take care of herself. She can't rely on anybody else. She was full-on sitting at Crimson Lights talking crazy to herself while she was messing around on her computer hacking around. And if you remember, she had already pressed Kane and said, "Let's use the AI to target our mutual enemies." But he wouldn't do it. He told Phyllis that they should use it to try and rehabilitate their reputations and their public image. And then she was ranting at Kane and absolutely refused. They almost kissed. She was trying to kind of flirt with him, I think. And then after he refused, Phyllis decided, okay, fine. She'll get her hands on Kane's AI program herself, and she's convinced that this is the answer to all her problems. We've seen this over the past many months now that Phyllis gets something in her head that's the answer to her problem. Whether it's working at Chancellor, whether it's Abbott.com, whether it's this and that, she just flits from one thing to another as things fall apart around her because she gets obsessive and she gets manic and she drives everybody crazy. Phyllis's desperation and betrayal. The motives behind the AI heist on YNR. Plus, Phyllis thinks that she's smart enough to steal that AI program without getting caught. She really did want to work with Kane, but at this point, Phyllis feels like he let her down. And so did Billy Abbott after she tried working with him. Like I said, over the past few months, it's been like one solution after another. She hoped that Aristotle Dumas was going to be this great thing in her life. And he turned out to be Kane, who is a real disappointment to her. And Phyllis just told Kane that he's a flake and he doesn't know who he is or what he wants. Kane can't make up his mind. If you remember, she was actually quoting Billy. And it is true that Kane keeps changing his mind and jumping from one thing to the next. I think that's Josh Griffith's bad writing, honestly. But anyway, Phyllis decided to take matters into her own hands and she did some hacking to get Kane's AI software to use as she wants to target people. There is so much hate in Phyllis's head and in her heart right now. And she's still suffering from PTSD. I think we all know that she's furious that Billy betrayed her when they were at Chancellor because he fired her because Jill Abbott made him. And then when Phyllis and Billy were starting up AbbottCom, well, he again fired Phyllis and replaced her with Sally Spectra. And of course, Phyllis is on fire also right now about Christine Cricket Blair. She hates her and Phyllis is unhappy that Danny Romalotti chose Christine over her and that they are about to get married. And even though Phyllis is kind of over the Danny not choosing her part, she's still not over him being with Cricket. So when Phyllis crashed her party, if you remember, Christine wrote her a reality check about being miserable and alone and crazy. And after seeing Danny serenade Cricket and him telling Phyllis that Christine is his happily ever after, I think the last bit of self-control that Phyllis had just snapped. The confrontation. Damien discovers his AI program is missing. She was at the coffee shop getting coffee from Esther and plotting to hack into Arabesque and steal the AI. And this week, it looks like Phyllis succeeded because Kane came to confront Phyllis and said his IT department said that the AI program is gone. Kane said somebody hacked in and either deleted it or stole it, and he is quite certain that Phyllis did it. And of course, she's going to lie and deny that that's what she did with Kane's program. So we'll see if Phyllis comes clean before the confrontation ends this week, but I doubt that she will tell Kane what she did, even though he knows because Phyllis is in this mode of trusting no one but herself. As to what she'll do with Kane's program, I'm sure that Phyllis is going to target an enemy. And I think it's going to be Victor that Phyllis goes after him in Newman Enterprises, maybe Newman Media, maybe even Chancellor since the Newmans own that too. Targeting the mustache. Why Victor Newman is Phyllis's ultimate enemy. So she may decide to take everything from Victor. If Phyllis can dismantle his empire and leave Victor with nothing, that would be the most perfect revenge that Phyllis could get for everything that Victor has ever done to her over the years. I don't know if you remember, but the most egregious thing that Victor's done to Phyllis happened 10 years ago. Was back in 2015. That's when Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, was engaged to Phyllis. But in one of his hateful anti-Abbott plots, Victor kidnapped Jack and replaced him with doppelganger Marco Anicelli, a lookalike drug lord, a real piece of crap. And that creep married Phyllis and crawled into her bed. She still considers Victor doing that to her to be rape because he put a stranger into her bed. Even after it all came out and Jack was rescued from where Victor had stashed him, it destroyed Phyllis and Jack's marriage. So, understandably, Phyllis still hates Victor for that. And aside from that, he's pretty much consistently nasty to Phyllis. When she was so desperate not that long ago, she actually asked Victor to hire her. He was rotten once again and said Phyllis doesn't have what it takes to work for him on Young and the Restless. Expanding the hit list. Other potential targets for Phyllis's wrath. Plus, Victor and Nikki Newman have Chancellor where Phyllis worked very briefly and wanted to work long-term and she was fired from. And Nick Newman has drifted back towards Sharon Newman. So, Phyllis may have several people she wants to target, but I absolutely think that Victor is at the top of her list. Him and Cricket are the people she hates most. Now later, Phyllis might go after Jabot, but I tend to think not because Phyllis knows that could hurt Summer Newman since Marchetti is part of Jabot. And Phyllis may use the AI to try and destroy Christine's reputation. I could see her doing that. I also suspect that once Phyllis starts using the AI to target people, it could be an opportunity to redeem Kane because that is his program. So, his people developed it. And if everybody in Genoa City is freaking out and panicking because Phyllis has the AI and Kane can get it back or destroy it, that would help him. You know, if Kane stops Phyllis from destroying Newman and other companies, well, Kane might actually look like the hero, even though it was his AI to start with. But it could help repair his image, could help him get back in Lily Winters's, Crystal Khalil good graces, in his kids' good graces, which is what he's desperate to do. So, I can definitely see Phyllis causing chaos soon with this AI that she stole from Damien. And I think Victor ought to be afraid. Very, very afraid. Today's next update. The Young and the Restless spoilers Monday, October 27th. Phyllis offers Victor AI program deal, admits to stealing. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, October 27th, reveal that Phyllis Summers will offer Victor Newman a deal regarding the AI program, which she'll admit to stealing from Kane Ashby. Victor is always wary and skeptical when it comes to Phyllis, so he may be hesitant to even take the urgent meeting she's demanding. Nevertheless, Phyllis will worm her way in the ranch and will convince Victor to hear her out. That'll lead to Phyllis confessing that she's stolen Kane's powerful program, which will certainly get Victor's attention. Phyllis will express her desire to strike a deal with Victor and hope that he's willing to work something out. Of course, Victor won't trust Phyllis any more than she trusts him, but this could be a mutually beneficial arrangement. Phyllis will spell out the terms she's looking for, so it'll be interesting to see what Victor's response is. Victor may initially worry that Phyllis is still working for Kane and setting some kind of trap. However, Phyllis may argue that Kane has gone soft and is forcing her to explore other options. Regardless, Phyllis might make Victor an offer that he simply can't refuse, especially if it means the chance to use this program to target Jabbo. As for Phyllis, Y&R fans know she always looks out for number one and may work multiple angles in the midst of all this. Phyllis might try to set Victor up for the theft and make Kane believe Victor really did steal it when she actually gave it to him. In the meantime, Kane will feel the need to fill Jack Abbott in on the stolen program drama. Since Kane no longer has control of the destructive software, he'll give Jack that disturbing news during a visit to the Abbott house. Diane Jenkins Abbott will also be on hand for this discussion, so she'll get updates on the program that could be unleashed on the Abbott's family business soon enough. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Jack and Diane will do some strategizing after Kane stops by, so stay tuned to see what their next move will be. Today's next update. Sharon Case reveals her role in picking Y&R's new Noah. How the soap star and Joshua Morrow helped pick Schick's son. The Young and the Restless fans will have to wait until Tuesday, November 4th to see Lucas Adams as the new Noah, but Sharon Case has shared details about the casting process. In an interview with Soap Opera Digest, the actress opened up about her and Joshua Morrow's involvement in picking who'd fill Rory Gibson's shoes. Key takeaways. What went into recasting Noah Newman? The roles Sharon Case and Joshua Morrow played in the process. How Noah's return could impact Sharon and Nick. CBS took the recast seriously. TV and film lovers are familiar with chemistry reads. As soap fans, we sometimes get to watch these moments unfold in real time, as writers and producers experiment with fresh dynamics on screen and pair new actors with established talent. But when it comes to choosing who will play a main character, the casting process gets a bit intense. Case shared that there's a theater at CBS where the top brass go to watch the big auditions. Actors in the running for the open role are paired with a veteran of the soap to get an understanding of how well they can act opposite one another. It's also about how they look together, particularly for legacy characters with a parent or parents on the show. They want to make sure they're believable as relatives. This is the process Adams went through as the network and the team behind Y&R worked to narrow down their pool of hopefuls. Case said that she and Morrow were part of the selection, as the actors who play Noah's parents, revealing they'd screen-tested with more than one actor looking to land the role. She gushed about how happy she is with the choice made. Love new Noah. I did a screen test along with Joshua for some new Noahs. We picked a good one. We've started taping with him, and he's a really good actor. But Case was also quick to note, we're sorry to see Rory go, but Rory is just tearing it up on General Hospital. He's right where he belongs. I'm glad to see that happen for him. It all ended well. We have a good new Noah, and everybody's happy. The Newmans, however, may be a long way off from happy for now. A family in crisis. With Noah laid up in a hospital bed with his face bandaged, and Mariah seeing a deceased Ian Ward while at a mental health facility, Sharon is going to have her hands full as a mother. As such, Nick will more than likely continue to play the role of her support as they navigate what's going on. He's already suspicious of Noah's supposed friend, who's been dodgy with him on the phone. Sharon has been anxious about splitting her attention between her two children, who each need her right now. The words emotional and roller coaster might not even begin to describe what they're experiencing, but it's possible that it could bring Nick and Sharon even closer. There's nothing like a family crisis to force two people to batten down the hatches and go all in with one another. That is, of course, if Schick's track record doesn't get in the way. Today's next update. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Victor's fatal revenge. This character must pay the ultimate price? The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Victor Newman may go after fatal revenge and make sure a guilty character pays the ultimate price. Victor could retaliate in a big way against a new enemy and hope an early grave is the result. If there's one thing fans know about Victor, it's that he doesn't play around when it comes to his family. Victor is quite protective of his children, and especially his grandchildren. If a character dares to hurt anyone with the name Newman, they tend to end up regretting it. Victor is a very powerful man with plenty of connections and people to take care of things for him. That's why Holden Novak felt the need to warn Sienna Bacall about the danger in YNR's October 23rd episode. Holden made it clear that the Newmans weren't to be messed with since their reach extends far beyond Genoa City. Noah Newman is comatose in a hospital bed right now because someone apparently ran him off the road and into a ravine. Victor may make sure the person responsible pays for what happened to his beloved grandson. Sienna knows more than she's letting on, but she's not the guilty party here. In fact, Sienna was shocked and rattled when she got updates on the news of Noah's horrific ordeal. That said, Sienna's husband, Mitch Bacall, could easily be responsible. The show's really hyping up the mystery surrounding Mitch in anticipation for his on-screen debut. Since we know Roger Howarth's first appearance is just around the corner, it seems likely he'll be playing Mitch. When Howarth's casting was first announced, it was confirmed that he'd be joining the show for an important story arc. Although it's possible Howarth could stick around longer, it sounds like more of a temporary thing where he'll just be around for this Noah-related drama. If Howarth is portraying Mitch and the person behind Noah almost losing his life, then his run may end with Mitch's demise. Victor may not let Mitch get away with what happened to Noah, so that's something to keep in mind. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Victor's revenge could turn fatal down the road, so stay tuned. For more of the latest updates and behind-the-scenes secrets from Young and the Restless, make sure to hit subscribe and ring that bell. Stay in the know with every new release.